Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the El Cajon City Council meeting. The meeting is called to order, and I'd like to ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for the record, all council members are present.
Thank you very much. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, remain standing for a moment of silence, and would Councilmember McClellan, would you be willing to lead us to the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the July 25th, 2017 meeting and the agenda of the August 8th, 2017 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. We have several commendations and presentations, and I'd like to invite Police Chief Jeff Davis to introduce the commendation for Isha Booker. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity, but I asked that a professional actually present this commendation, so I asked our press information officer, Monica Zeck, if she would read this proclamation and commendation.
Good. And actually, I think we're going to come down below and give the proclamation.
Correct.
Council, if you meet.
Aisha Booker, would you please come forward? If I can also invite up from the MTS, Bill Sproul, the Chief Operating Officer, and from First Transit, the General Manager, John Lewis, and the Area Vice President, Mark Weinstein, if you'll join us up here as well. Thank you, Mayor. This is a commendation honoring Aisha Booker, Good Samaritan. Whereas on July 17, 2017, officers were dispatched to the dollar store on Fletcher Parkway regarding a subject who had committed a robbery. And while officers were responding, another call came in from KFC reporting the same suspect causing a disturbance. And whereas the victim officer arrived on scene at KFC and made contact with a possible person of interest regarding the robbery and was injured as a result of that contact and incapacitated. And whereas upon witnessing the incident, Aisha Booker, a Metropolitan Transit System employee, took action by grabbing the officer's radio and calling for help, thereby summoning first responders to the location of the injured officer. And whereas Aisha Booker had the courage, quick thinking, and willingness to get involved, and without hesitation and regard for her own safety, summoned immediate help for the injured officer and attempted to comfort him. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby commend Aisha Booker for her selfless act of kindness, quick thinking, and service to the community, and further extend our appreciation to her for her displaying great valor and courage during this incident. Signed this 8th day of August, 2017.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council, for recognizing Aisha. Aisha, the actions you displayed that day demonstrated a tremendous amount of courage and compassion. You will always have the admiration of myself and every member of the El Cajon Police Department. You know, you shared something with me. You told me nothing good had ever happened to you in your life. And I told you, Aisha, good things happen to good people. You're a good person. I hope this is just the beginning of many good things that happen to you. On behalf of myself and the entire police department, you will always have our gratitude. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Weinstein. I'm the Area Vice President for First Transit, the company that employs Aisha. When we realized that she was going to get recognized at the City Council, my boss, the Senior Vice President for the company, who resides in Arizona, said, Mark, you need to go. I reside in San Francisco, and I said, Nick, I have jury duty. I'm on call. I can't make it. Can you go? And he goes, I have to go to Cincinnati where our corporate headquarters are. And so all these machinations started taking place, and I found out last night that I'm on call today. So I was able to fly down because this is important. You did a wonderful thing for the community, not for First Transit, your employer, or MTS, the company that hired us, but for the community right here. And I wanted to be present to just say thank you for what you did. Chief is correct. Good things will happen to good people. So thank you very much for what you did. I appreciate it very much.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for the donations, the recognition. Just thank God for everybody. I really appreciate it. My kids appreciate it, and you're welcome.
Well, on behalf of myself and the City Council, I want to thank you. You know, we're very aware, I think everybody's aware, that being a police officer in this particular time in American history is a difficult time. It's a difficult thing to be a police officer right now. There are some people that want to hurt them. There's some people who want to insult them, people that want to demean them, and they feel that. But I've always felt that that was a very small percentage of the population. And I feel in my heart that most people are good people, they're law-abiding people, they appreciate what the police do for them. And it's hard for us to show them that. But you had the opportunity, and you helped save the life of one of our own. There's no proclamation we could give you that can tell you how thankful we are for what you've done. God bless you, and thank you for everything.
All the council members would like to shake your hand.
All right. Once again, thank you. Now, I know this happens to you all the time, but you're probably going to have to go out and do press interviews. And I think, Monica, do you want to take some photographs?
Well, here, and sure some of the media is still here. They wanted to take and do some interviews, if it's all right.
All right, so you go take care of your public and your interviews, and we'll continue with the meeting. But thank you so much. All right. Next, I'd like to invite City Manager Doug Williford, and he's here, to join the council for the commendation for our own Sarah Ramirez, Director of Recreation.
All right, so I hate saying goodbye to people, so I'll try to keep this short. This woman has dedicated the vast majority of her adult life, 3 decades, to this community. If you haven't done something like that in your life, it's hard to know what that means. You kind of identify the age of your kids with certain projects you were working on. You identify, your work life with your personal life as you grew up with the city and with your staff and that kind of thing. And I've been here just 5.5 years with Sarah. She is a fabulous executive for the city. She isn't just an employee. She loves this city. She loves the people in it. She's demonstrated that in a million ways, and so has her staff. And so we knew this day was coming somewhere around here, so I guess it was about a month ago or so. She wandered in my office and said, "Doug, I have to say goodbye now." And we will never be able to replace her. We have a wonderful official replacement for her, a person that Frank Carson, who she has brought on board specifically for this purpose, but Frank, among all of us, knows you'll never really replace Sarah Ramirez. So I'm going to have Monica read a few words on behalf of Sarah. Go ahead.
This is a commendation honoring Sarah Ramirez, Director of Recreation. Whereas Sarah Ramirez has been developing youth, supporting families, and providing safe places for East County for over 35 years. Sarah started with the El Cajon Recreation Department as an intern in 1980 and worked her way through the ranks, ultimately taking the helm as director in 2011. Sarah received 2 professional awards from the California Park and Recreation Society for her contributions in the recreation field. During her tenure, Sarah expertly directed and operated the department's outstanding facilities and programming, including 5 full-service recreation centers, 1 banquet facility, 9 ball fields, a skate park, a dog park, a swimming pool, and over 100 part-time employees. Through the years, Recreation facilitated the Commission on Aging and Disabilities, the Recreation Council, the Teen Coalition, the Veterans Commission, and the Park and Recreation Commission. And whereas Sarah has been instrumental in establishing cooperative agreements with the Cajon Valley Union School District, the Boys and Girls Club at Wells Park, the Downtown El Cajon Business Partners, CASA, the El Cajon Police Department, and other groups to offer quality facilities, programming, and numerous events for the benefit of the entire community. She started a pilot program called Neighbors to Neighbors, bringing community leaders together to create healthy neighborhoods. She developed a transition plan for the Wells Senior Center, inclusionary programs for users of all abilities, and assisted in a strategic marketing plan for promoting the department. Sarah participated in renovation projects at Renette, Hillside, and the Ronald Reagan Community Centers, as well as improvements at Fletcher Hills Pool, providing her input and expertise in the development plans for these facilities. And whereas, in addition to overseeing a department that is constantly evolving, Sarah and her staff produced major events rebranding the city of El Cajon and returning a vibrancy to the downtown area. Many will recognize these popular community-wide events, including Alpha Rec Golf Tournament, America on Main Street, our long-standing 4th of July picnic and fireworks, Haunt Fest, and the St. Patrick's Day Half Marathon, to name a few. Sarah and her staff, gaining valuable experience from the International Friendship Festival, coordinated the city's monumental Centennial Celebration, a year-long observance of the city's 100-year anniversary. These are in addition to the ongoing recreation programs for people of all ages. Now, Sarah's first involvement with the El Cajon Recreation Department was in 1966, performing at the Del Mar Fair as a buttercup ballerina. And we have a picture. No, we don't. Okay. As a lifelong resident of El Cajon, Sarah has devoted her career to ensuring the community has opportunities to participate in the best recreation programs and facilities in all of San Diego County. El Cajon is very fortunate to have been the recipient of her dedication and hard work. Now, therefore, Bill Wells, Mayor for the City of El Cajon, together with the City Council, do hereby commend and congratulate Director of Recreation Sarah Ramirez on a very successful career with the City of El Cajon. We wish Sarah and her family good health and much happiness in her retirement years. Signed this 8th day of August, 2017.
Wow, Monica, that sounded like 35 years. That was long. This has been an incredible journey. I'm so fortunate to have grown up and worked in the town. That means so much to me. During these years, the City Council has shown endless support and leadership for our Recreation Department, through the good times and through the challenging times. Thank you. Under the tremendous leadership and guidance from our city manager, Douglas Williford, the past 5 years have provided so much opportunity for the Recreation Department. Some people said we've grown up. Thank you for letting us part of your vision, Doug. You're awesome. My job has been made easy by the staff that I've had the pleasure to work with. Beginning with the executive team, you have shown professionalism and support and are always there to guide me and work with me, setting me on the right path. City Hall and field staff, thank you for being part of citywide teams with special events, facility renovation, and staff recognition committees. Your integrity for these programs have truly been valuable. And, of course, to my rock stars, the rec department. You are all wonderful. You have provided so many events and activities with superb customer service to our citizens. This team works hard and is always there. They are remarkable. Personally, I would like to thank my family. Can you guys stand up? There's a few here, 13. Beginning with my mother, Elizabeth Smith. Who knew, Mom? When you put me in that ballet class when I was 6 years old, under protest, I would have a career in recreation and become the director of rec. Thank you so much, Mom. To my brothers and my sister-in-laws, my grandniece and niece, I thank you for being here. This is an important life event, and I love you. It's a little long, but hang in there. To my husband, Steve, the city got a 2-for-1. You have guided me and supported me and have received so much insight through you. You have done such a great job in helping me to become a businesswoman, and the city benefited from your expertise, dear. My boys, Joseph and Daniel, grew up in the department. I didn't know I'd have my own focus group when I got home every night. They participated in camps and classes, and they always gave me feedback, staff, good and bad. And of course, when you grew up, you volunteered at special events and Kaboom playgrounds, and you always worked hard and made me proud. I cannot forget the community partners of El Cajon. Downtown El Cajon Business Partners, CASA, Cajon Valley Union School District, St. Madeline Sophie Center, El Cajon Collaborative, East County Chamber, Crisis House, waste management. You've always been there. You're all so amazing. You create community with us. Now, a little secret. My staff know this. Every time there was an event, I always worried, was anybody going to show up? Be it America on Main Street, International Friendship Festival, Haunt Fest, Kaboom Playground Builds, Veterans Celebrations, Dance Recital, 4th of July. I was always concerned each time people wouldn't show up, but they did. They came and played with us. 20 to 40,000 came out to play. I thank you for your support, because without you, the events would mean nothing. You are what makes El Cajon special. My last thing I have to say to you is, have fun in life, be safe, and always make friends. Thank you.
Can her family come down? We need to get some photos. While they're coming down, I just want to say there are certain people that you run into your life professionally that to say they go above and beyond, there's no way to express what that really means. Sarah owned this job. Come on down in front, guys, so we can all get a picture. Right in front of these guys. Yeah. But, we talk about Haunt Fest and America on Main Street, and those were phenomenal successes. We asked Sarah to do these things for many reasons. One is, from a business perspective, we wanted people to come into town that hadn't been to El Cajon in a long time or maybe never, and see how beautiful the city's become, see what a great place it is to bring a business, to buy a house, to raise a family. And Sarah did an amazing job at that. I know that we've had more family-friendly events in El Cajon than any other city in the region has, by far. I mean, it's not even close. But we're also just happy to see everybody come in because we love the city and we want to share that with them and share all the good things that are happening. And that's a big part of her job. And that was really neat, and that we were so proud of her for that. But on a higher level, we entrusted Sarah with our children for the past 35 years. Her and the people she worked with provide our kids a safe place to go, a place to learn values, a place to learn about teamwork and sports, a place to not be involved in things they shouldn't be involved, but be involved in healthy, positive things. And I would imagine that if all those kids could be here and tell their stories, how many kids you and your staff have directed towards great lives, have saved from negative lives. And that's an intangible thing. We'll never know that, but in my heart, I know that your life's work has counted in ways very few people get to say that. And you and your family should be proud of what you've done. I'm proud of you. And I hope everybody would stand and give her a big round of applause, because this is an amazing person.
Christine, I needed you down here for the...
All right. Staff, I believe there's a brief presentation regarding the 2017 Waste Management Recycling Champions. And Monica, are you... Oh, Christine's coming up. But she's blocked by the Ramirez clan. I was excited. I thought everybody got the word that the council meetings were really the cool place to be. And then now they all go home. So I guess...
Oh, thank you.
Christine, welcome.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members, city staff. So we just want to thank the opportunity to serve the city of El Cajon as the city's exclusive solid waste and recycling services provider. As part of our partnership with the city, Waste Management is dedicated to promoting recycling throughout the city. We remain committed to increasing our public education outreach efforts for commercial and multifamily properties as we work together with the city to meet state-mandated recycling goals. One of our recycling outreach campaigns is our Recycle Champions Award. This award recognizes the exemplary actions of a commercial business and a multifamily property within the city who are doing their part to recycle often and recycle right. I'd like to share with you two businesses who are doing just that. Our first recycling champion for multifamily properties is Barbara Terrace HOA. Picture here. So located at 514 Shady Lane, Barbara Terrace HOA is an 84-unit condo complex with a current diversion recycling rate of 36%. As you can see from the photo, it looks a little bit far away, but they have a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning where there's a trash bin, there's a recycling bin. And it's giving the tenants and residents an easy and convenient way to participate in the recycling. Makes it very easy for them. The on-site maintenance staff monitors what's being thrown into the trash and recycling containers and physically moves the materials from the trash into the recycling if they catch it in time and see it out there. So they're very cognizant of what's going on out there. And new owners are given information regarding recycling to help encouraging them to participate. So today we just wanted to recognize Barbara Terrace HOA as this year's multifamily recycling champion for encouraging recycling participation and facilitating a successful multifamily recycling program here in the city. So if the representatives from Barbara Terrace could come up.
Well, thank you very much. The council would love to meet you and shake hands with you.
And that's Hell Management. They manage Barbara Terrace. So thanks for coming out. The second business we'd like to recognize as a City of El Cajon recycling champion is El Cajon Ford. Located at 1595 East Main Street, El Cajon Ford has a diversion rate of 55%, meaning the materials, 45% is trash, the others recycling. So recycling is an important company policy to El Cajon Ford. It starts with their new hire orientation, where new hires learn about recycling in their employee manuals, and they're encouraged to participate wherever possible. Throughout the dealership, there are a variety of recycling bins, ranging from the desk side bins you can see there, shredding bins, copy room bins, break room recycling bins. There's bins all over the place. Recycling is easily and readily available to the staff, and they're all doing it. All of the mechanics strategically place their part boxes in a designated area where they are collected by staff and broken down for recycling and or used for shipping purposes for other parts that need to go out. El Cajon Ford is recycling approximately 1,200 gallons of used motor oil per month. In addition, they recycle all of their oil filters as well. Tires are also recycled or repurposed. Please help me in recognizing El Cajon Ford as this year's Commercial Business Recycling Champion for their exemplary recycling efforts.
It's right here. Gary's got it. Gary wanted to steal it, but I said, thank you very much. Congratulations. No.
Congratulations to our two winners. We just thank you for thinking green and recycling often and recycling right. One last thing while I'm up here. I wanted to mention that this Saturday, August 12th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., residents can bring boxes of paper for shredding. We're holding a free shredding event at the El Cajon Police Department parking lot. Again, it's from 9 a.m. to 12. Residents can bring up to 5 banker boxes. We ask that there's no clips on them or binder clips or anything like that. And proof of residency is required. Just show up, bring us your paper, and we'll shred it.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Waste Management.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Lastly, we have a presentation from the Metropolitan Water District. Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor Wells and Honorable City Council members. My name is Mina Westford, and I'm the Special Projects Manager for Metropolitan Water District, based here in San Diego County. Thank you for the opportunity to provide Metropolitan's perspective on a proposed resolution to support the San Diego County Water Authority's litigation against Metropolitan. I'd also like to take a brief moment to talk about our shared history, our partnership, and commitment to provide reliable water supplies to all the residents and businesses in San Diego County. Metropolitan was created by the legislature in 1928. The founding agencies of Metropolitan represented most of the urbanized areas in Los Angeles and Orange County at that time. We were created because a regional partnership was necessary to secure water for the future. These committees were seeking a supply from the Colorado River, and they realized they would have to pool their resources in order to build this 240-mile system of pipelines, tunnels, and reservoirs. Today, Metropolitan has grown to 26 member agencies. We provide water to 6 counties with a service population approaching 19 million people, 3.2 million here in San Diego County. We have a 38-member board of directors, and we have a weighted voting system, meaning that each of our agencies' vote is based on the assessed property value of its service area. The San Diego County Water Authority has one of the largest weighted votes of all of our members at 18%. So I can assure you that the San Diego County is a very significant voice on our board and that no single member has a majority vote. So while San Diego likes to say that we're LA-based Metropolitan, we would like to remind folks that you are all a part of Metropolitan. So Metropolitan started delivering our first imported supply from the Colorado River in 1941. The Water Authority joined Metropolitan Water District in 1946, and we began delivering water supplies here locally in 1947. That's 70 years of service and partnership that Metropolitan has had with San Diego County. Today, we provide 40% of San Diego County's water supplies, and we also use our aqueducts to move and transport the other 40% that you get here in the county. A generation later, we decided to invest in the Northern California supply via the State Water Project. We had strong support from San Diego for this project. Voters approved this project in 1960. we have been providing a blend of Colorado River supplies and Northern California water to San Diego County since the 1970s. At the moment, we are mostly delivering state water project as we are banking our Colorado River supplies in Lake Mead. This blend changes based on our conditions. Having two imported water supplies that originate from two separate hydrologic systems has been essential to maintain a reliable system for all of Southern California. Now, a generation later was a wake-up call for all of us, not just San Diego County. In 1991, Metropolitan faced a first-ever potential water shortage because of the prolonged drought in Northern California. Metropolitan, year in and year out, had been relying on adequate supplies to be able to meet all of our demands. Those supplies simply did not materialize in 1991. So we asked all of our members to reduce their demands on Metropolitan by 31% so that we can make it through the year. It was not just San Diego that suffered those consequences. While we made it through that year, we realized that we had to update our approach to water management in order to be prepared for droughts in the future. So we began making investments on several fronts. A primary improvement was with storage. We increased the size of our network of reservoirs and groundwater banks by more than 13-fold since the 1930s. Metropolitan now has access to more storage than can be stored in the state's largest reservoir, which is Shasta Dam. Another improvement was with local supplies. Metropolitan began to provide financial incentives to local agencies to develop their own supplies, and that includes water recycling and conservation. The resolution before you supports litigation that attacks our ability to help with local supplies, and if successful, would now allow us to invest in these local supply projects. Projects such as Padre Dam's Advanced Water Purification Program right here in your own backyard, and it would not allow us to continue to support regional conservation programs to help keep demands low. San Diego County is using less water this year than the drought level targets that we had in 1991. That helps the entire region, and that is because of years of investment in water efficient devices like indoor toilets and turf removal programs outdoors. The result is that we have just come out of the worst drought in modern history, and Southern California had sufficient supplies to avoid severe economic hardships. So I have to set the record straight about a negative misinformation campaign that the San Diego County Water Authority has been waging against Metropolitan. Here is an example of this campaign. The Water Authority is using ratepayers' money to develop a website dedicated to criticize Metropolitan. It features a doctored version of our logo, and its contents are equally misleading. I am aware of no other government that uses taxpayer funds to operate a website dedicating to criticizing another government agency. This website has been in existence for more than 5 years and has displayed nothing but negative comments about Metropolitan, your regional wholesale supplier. The Water Authority has said that we have overcharged, overspent, borrowed too much, and that our rates are climbing. These are false mischaracterizations and allegations. During this drought, we sold more water than we had originally targeted. The San Diego Water Authority claims this is overcharging, and we respectfully disagree. The Water Authority says that our strategic investments in land purchases are examples of overspending. We respectfully disagree. A few years ago, we acquired lands in Palo Verde that supports the reliability of our Colorado River supplies. At that time of this investment, the Water Authority actually voted for it. Now their public relations campaign says this is an example of overspending. This is another example of how the Water Authority now criticizes what it once promoted. Another criticism is that Metropolitan's decision to purchase 4 islands in the Delta that are strategically located on the path of the existing water supply system and the proposed tunnel system of the California Water Fix. These lands have multiple values that can advance the goals of restoring water supplies and restoring the Delta. The Water Authority also claims that our efforts to lower demand through a turf removal rebate program during the drought is an example of overspending. We respectfully disagree. Metropolitan has made a historic investment of $450 million in conservation during this drought. $350 million of that was in turf replacement program, and many of your constituents participated in that program. The Water Authority promoted this rebate during the drought, and now it criticizes it. This was a very popular program here in San Diego County, and we were proud to help thousands of local residents and business transform their landscapes to more efficient. Now, the Water Authority also criticizes Metropolitan about our rates. In fact, our rates have grown at a slower rate than those of the Water Authority. Here's how both Metropolitan's all-in rate and that of the Water Authority have tracked over time. It is not surprising that a higher level of local spending has resulted in a higher level of rate increases over the past 10 years. And we support local agencies to make local water investment decisions. But to characterize our supplies as expensive supplies is just another example of misinformation. Now I want to turn quickly to the San Diego County Water Authority rate litigation. As you know, the Water Authority has been in litigation with Met. They have actually filed 6 lawsuits against Metropolitan since 2010. And I'd like to walk you briefly through those lawsuits and what they are attempting to do and where things stand today. The first lawsuits against Metropolitan centered on some costs associated with the Water Authority's purchase of an independent supply from Imperial Valley. The Water Authority chose to utilize Metropolitan's distribution system to access this supply rather than to build its own aqueduct system. Both Metropolitan and the Water Authority voluntarily agreed to a method of exchanging and delivering that water. The Imperial supply is delivered to Metropolitan at our Colorado River aqueduct system, and then we exchange it and deliver a like quality into San Diego. Today, as an example, we are delivering a blend of Northern California and Colorado River both to San Diego. Our transportation charges are a blend of both of those supplies. San Diego agreed to this in 2003 and then challenged this cost structure in 2010. The appellate courts have upheld our system-wide transportation charges. We charge everybody the same amount, the same transportation charges, and the Water Authority pays no more or no less. The Water Authority has petitioned that decision at the California Supreme Court for review, but Metropolitan has not. Now, the resolution before you is centered on other lawsuits that are centered on other financial issues. Perhaps the most important issues to the City of El Cajon is how the Water Authority is attempting to eliminate Metropolitan's ability to financially assist in local supply projects, such as the recycling project envisioned by Padre Dam and the Helix Water District and their partners. The Water Authority claims there is no regional benefit for Metropolitan to assist in local supply projects and local conservation efforts, and we strongly disagree. We do not think these lawsuits will save the ratepayers money, will not save the region money, and could actually cause your community to lose any opportunity for Metropolitan to support local supply projects. Yet, when you look at San Diego County Water Authority's planning scenarios, they are relying on your cities and its member agencies to produce this new supply of water. Wouldn't it be better to share the costs of the local projects with all of Southern California ratepayers? Spreading the costs of large and expensive projects like the Padre Dam project is why Metropolitan was created in the first place. The resolution before you, besides being inaccurate, states that your honorable body will support the Water Authority's current and future litigation against Metropolitan. And that means that you are willing to eliminate our ability to support projects like the Padre Dam and Helix Advanced Water Purification Project. So in closing, I would just like to add that we do not solve our problems in the courtroom or with one agency always criticizing the other. We solve our problems by working together. This resolution is about conflict and not collaboration. Metropolitan and San Diego County have had a valuable partnership for many decades, and we will continue to do so. We will continue to deliver water to the county. So when this period of misinformation and conflict is finally over, I hope to be back to talk to you about more positive things. We are proud to serve the 3.2 million residents of San Diego County. I'd like to thank you for your time. And Honorable Mayor, I did read your op-ed in the UT last week, and I'd like to just enter into record a copy of my board chair's op-ed so that you have it as well.
Thank you very much.
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, let me see if there's any questions for you.
I know I heard a few years ago this is a statewide thing because we're all in California, but a lot of the areas in Northern California don't even have water meters. Some people just leave their water on continuously. Is anything being done statewide to make other areas conserve so that the water could be more available in Southern California where we need it more?
Yes, in 2009, legislation was passed to make sure areas in Northern California, like Sacramento, for example, put meters on and actually account for their water use. They've had I would say, an ability to, over time, to do that, like I think 10 years, to be able to make sure that all of their residents and businesses have meters.
Are they charged for their water?
At the moment, I don't believe that all of the cities are in Northern California, but the legislation requires them to, eventually, in like 10 years.
That would be helpful.
Southern California has done a great job in conservation
Right.
and reducing our water use and making sure that we're accountable for our water use.
Right. And we need to have Northern California accountable so that we can share some of that, because the largest population is south of San Francisco South.
Metropolitan and San Diego have both been upheld as being the leaders in this area.
Thank you.
Why does the Metropolitan Water District have an interest in the water purification project through Padre Dam?
We actually do have a very strong interest, and in fact, from my records, we've spent so far about $3.2 million here locally in Padre's recycling program, and so we do have an interest. Any water that is reused or recycled or conserved helps our entire region. That frees up water for areas that don't have that ability. So we do have a strong interest. It's part of our overall LRP and our integrated resources plan. And when we look out to the future, we know that there's going to be population growth and water needs, and so anything we can do to protect our imported water supplies and maximize our local resources is what we're aiming for. That is our goal, and that is our mission.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Next on the agenda is agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
Not a change, Mr. Mayor, but in addition, in front of you, in front of each council member, should be a memo from myself on item 1.5. It is an addition to that consent item amendment to the professional services agreement with National Demographic Corporation. It is the actual amendment. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Council members, any changes to the agenda? Then we're going to move on to consent items. Consent items are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or person in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any consent items? Mr. Goebel?
I'd like to pull 1.5, please.
1.5, it is. Anybody else? Staff, do you wish to pull any consent items?
No, sir.
Darrell, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We do, Mr. Mayor. We have a speaker for item 1.6,
Please,
which is the community event in the right-of-way.
please invite that person up then.
Ms. Morris, Ms. Wendy Morris.
Hello, Ms. Morris, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm Wendy Morris, and I'm the administrator of Sophie's Art Gallery, the off-campus art program of St. Madeline Sophie Center on Rhea Avenue. And I want to thank you all for considering today the 2017 Alley Cat Art Walk. We're very excited to bring back this popular art event in the downtown El Cajon area. We are supported by the downtown business partners in this event, and it will feature art, music, food, art vendors, art shows, and a wine tasting. It's Friday, September the 15th, from 5 to 10 p.m. It's a family-friendly event. We will have some children's booths where we'll make cat masks and paint rocks and other weaving, and some other art activities for children. And again, I just want to thank you. It's going to happen in the alley in between Main Street and Rhea Avenue, which is named Arts Alley. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Listen, I got a good story for you. So I was babysitting our family's dog once, and I went and took the dog for a walk, and we turned the corner on the alley cat, and he saw that cat, and he backed up and he started barking. And I think it was a really stupid dog, but I really like the art.
Yeah, we always see people walking through, taking pictures of the murals. That's something that we've done in prior years for Alley Cat. The Friends of East County Art have supported murals, the painting of murals in that alley.
That's a neat thing. Makes
Right.
El Cajon unique.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. So would someone like to make a motion, or I'll make a motion, to approve all the consent items with the exception of 1.5, which we'll talk about in a moment. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
Mr. Goebel?
The NDC, National Demographics Corporation, I think did a spectacular job throughout our districting process, not redistricting. To create districts, I think they held a tremendous effort for the community meetings. I think their skill and their software was very helpful to the public. I think the city staff's selection of this company was absolutely right, and I think the public was well served by this company, and the cost for what they provided to the public was an absolute bargain for the taxpayers, and so I say well done for the city staff to manage this very difficult process.
Excellent. So then would you like to make a motion on the item?
I'll move that we approve item 1.5.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Once again, motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
All right, that brings us then to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Darrell, do we have any cards for public comment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a couple of speaker cards, and the first speaker is Mr. Dennis Cushman. Mr. Cushman.
Mr. Cushman, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Wells and honorable members of the City Council. My name is Dennis Cushman, Assistant General Manager of the San Diego County Water Authority. And I don't want to belabor it, but I do want to respond to a couple of points made by an earlier speaker from the Metropolitan Water District to clarify some information. And I think Ms. Westford's remarks are very telling of why the Water Authority has an information campaign to inform the public, not only here in San Diego County and to our local elected officials, the impacts of what Metropolitan is doing on ratepayers here in San Diego County. Responding to a couple of points, and I'd like to leave with you a brief overview that corrects a lot of the misinformation that Metropolitan is spreading around our community here in San Diego County. First, the numbers that the Water Authority is using to discuss Metropolitan's $847 million of overcollections from ratepayers throughout its service area, including $189 million from ratepayers in San Diego County, $30 million of which are ratepayers in East County, San Diego. That they've overspent their budgets by $1.2 billion over 4 fiscal years. Just last year, with a $1.7 billion budget, Metropolitan overspent that budget by $848 million. I rest assured that you'd be convinced that the El Cajon City Council overspent its budget by more than 50% a year. You'd be hearing from your ratepayers and your taxpayers here in El Cajon. Metropolitan also overborrowed unplanned borrowing of almost $1 billion last year to help pay for that overspending, $900 million, including $400 million in commercial bank loans, taxable commercial bank loans, and drained their cash reserves so low that today $300 million of $378 million in their cash reserves is borrowed money. They're carrying on their books as cash reserves a debt obligation of the Metropolitan Water District. The Metropolitan representative said that in 1991, all of Met's service area was cut 31% supplies, and that's completely not true. The impacts to the retail level were far greater and were 31% in San Diego County. In the city of L.A., the same level of cutbacks was about a 10% shortage in the city of L.A. It's just simply not true. We have the metropolitan data to show that. By the way, all the numbers that our general manager shared with you, that I'm sharing with you today, are numbers directly from Metropolitan. They put up on the screen a big red stamp that says false and misleading, but they never question any of the numbers or challenge any of the numbers that the Water Authority is informing the public and elected officials about, because all of the numbers come from MWD. Perhaps most galling in the remarks made earlier is this suggestion that the Water Authority is attacking local supply development, and that Metropolitan stands ready to help Padre Dam Municipal Water District and any of our other member agencies with local supply funding that are funded by our ratepayers' rates. What Ms. Westford failed to mention is that in 2011, the Metropolitan Water District Board of Directors took formal action to bar the Water Authority from receiving any local supply funding. They canceled 4 conservation and local supply contracts that were then in effect, and forever barred the Water Authority from receiving any local supply funding. And finally, on the Water Authority's water rates compared to Metropolitan's, it's important to know, and left out from those remarks, is that the single largest driver of the San Diego County Water Authority's water rates are the water rates from the Metropolitan Water District. Of course, local rates are going to be higher. We're paying for our system and our supplies and our 310 miles of distribution system. But it's disingenuous to try to compare those as apples to apples when one agency is the biggest contributor to the rates of the other.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me see if there's any questions for you.
Yes.
No. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, and I'll leave this with the clerk.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker, Mr. Mayor, is Ms. Sunshine Horton. Ms. Horton.
Hey, Sunshine. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to say thank you to God, because I'll be next Tuesday, I will be 27 backwards, 72. I've been here in El Cajon 41 years. I was here before even Sarah started working. I've seen a lot of good changes in El Cajon and all that, but because this country adopted me when I was 10 years old, I want to pay it forward. And this birthday is my 22nd Miracle Maker that I do for the hospital. I was giving the money to them for whatever, but ever since my daughter passed away, I give the money for the cancer of the hospital so the kids can have a wonderful life. And this year, I don't want to shave, I don't want to dance, I don't want to walk, because I've been doing all those things for the hospital. This year, I got smart and I got GoFundMe. So you can find me under Sunshine Horton, and you're going to see me there doing things, because I put a video of the news media when I did my 63rd birthday that I danced 21 hours straight to also push not to drink and drive, because 21 is the drinking age. So I'm just going to leave that page and hope that I get money for the hospital, and I'm going to kind of get all the money together, because I'm doing a dinner for my daughter's birthday. She would have been 52 if she would have been with me, and I'm going to make a little dinner in Downtown Cafe, and that money plus GoFundMe money is going to go straight to the hospital. So I'm just happy to be here and be able to give to everybody in different ways, because together is the secret to accomplish anything. You cannot do anything alone. You can do it together. I want to read this little thing that Cicero is the one that wrote it. It says, "Friendship renders prosperity more brilliant, while it lightens adversity by sharing it and making its burden common." So we all should just be so positive with life and help one another. So if you can find my page, because I always wanted 1/3 of the county of San Diego, if they gave $1, that would be more than $1 million for the hospital. So somehow I want to give money on that page, and a good friend of mine, Chris Simone, is the first one to put $100. So I know I'm going to get money for the hospital, and I'll let you know about the little dinner, but I've been in El Cajon for many years, and El Cajon is getting better by the day, and I love El Cajon too. And Sarah, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine.
Is Deborah Browner? She left. Thank you. The next speaker, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Gaz Lopez.
Hey, Mr. Lopez, welcome back.
Hello, everybody. I'm here just to find out if when we can have an idea about the findings on Solterra and Solari's enterprises.
What was the question again?
Well, we would like to know about the findings.
Oh, the findings. Yeah, we're actually have got a report from our city manager. He's going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to wait till after public comment, and we'll talk about that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Donna Alberling.
You're welcome to.
Well, I didn't even know about this meeting until a couple days ago, but here I am, speaking for us at Solterra, which is a disabled and low-income senior building. A lot of us have had a rough life and have gone through much sickness and really abuse, and we're incurring abuse in that place also. I mean, the place is not kept up. They opened 2 multi-million-dollar buildings right next to each other, giving us big promises of a well-taken care of, publicly funded future with, wonderful parties and occurrences, things that we could all get together with. The place is filthy dirty. It's just awful. It's not being kept up at all. How many months was it that we didn't have a maintenance guy? Almost a couple years, they say, without even a maintenance man for both buildings. Nobody. It just went totally downhill, and it started so beautifully with beautiful landscaping. We went in there with all the money we had, whatever we could afford, and with big hopes. And it's just, we're ignored there. It's really a shame, Mayor, and anybody that can help us.
Well, thank you for telling us.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Mark Egan. Mr. Egan.
Well, sir, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to us. I am also from Solterra. My name is Mark Egan. My questions are mainly on the financial end of it. I'd like to find out who the parties to the management contract are. We haven't been able to find out from the management contract, from the management company itself. Won't tell me who they are. I'd like to find out if the management contract is public record or not, and if it is public record, how we can get a copy of it. I'd also like to know if the budgets and the operating statements are public record, and if they are, again, how we can get copies and be able to review those. Again, we have had these cost increases, services lowered, cost increases. I like to follow the money. I'd like to know what's going on with it. They're going to price us, a lot of us, out of there, and shortly we'll be talking to the mayor over in Wells Park pretty soon. I saw you on television.
I was going to say, is there a separate mayor for Wells Park?
I saw you over there yesterday. But anyway, again, thank you for your consideration.
Thanks very much. I'll ask our city manager to speak to that issue as well. Are there more?
Yes, sir. The next speaker, Mr. Wayne Bowie, Jr. Mr. Bowie.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Wayne Bowie. I'm recently a homeowner here in El Cajon, retired Marine. Now I'm a full-time college student. Since I've moved on Emerald Avenue, my issue is the cleanliness of the streets. And I realize across America we have homeless individuals. Roger that, got it. But the cleanliness of the streets, I've tried the good neighbor thing because on Emerald you have a mix of homeowners and apartment complexes. So I have reached out to the apartment complexes like, hey, you know, you have all kind of discarded trash and whatnot in front of your property. You know, well, is it on my property or is it on the outside the gate? So it's this, if it's outside their gate, I guess it's the city's problem. So I've filled out, you know, countless service requests. You know, it's just, you know, I know it's not the Marine Corps. You can make people do stuff, but it's frustrating. So what I'm here today, I'm asking the council members, you know, you have more pull than I do as a citizen of the city now to reach out to maybe these apartment complexes and or take a walk down the street. I'll gladly give you a guided tour of what I'm looking at on a daily basis as I'm walking my pet down the street. I mean, I'm stepping over human waste. I even, you know, with the service requests that I've sent to the city, you know, I learned in the Marine Corps, you come with the problem, you come with the solution. And I know these things take money, but possibly even putting porta-johns where they have access to bathroom facilities where they don't have to do it on the sidewalk and on the streets. It's just, Mayor, it's really frustrating. And, you know, I've been in some other countries where I expect to see that type of thing, but it's been an eye-opener for me since I retired from the Marine Corps and been living as a civilian now.
I appreciate that. Graham, do you think you could meet with him afterwards and give him your card? I'm going to set you up with our assistant city manager, see what he can do to help you. Let's go through the process. If you feel like you're not satisfied, please come back or call my office directly. I'd be glad to meet with you and have coffee. I'd be glad to take you up on your offer to come out and see your house and see what's going on. This is a recent problem. I know that you may not have heard this before, but we've always, like every city in America, every city in California, we've always had a homeless problem, but that problem has ratcheted up significantly in the past 18 months. We were as surprised by this as anybody else, and we're doing everything we can to combat it. We have to make all of our actions in compliance with the laws of the state of California, which are very, very focused on homeless rights, and that can be frustrating at times. I'm not saying we can't do anything. I'm just saying that, number one, we're very aware of it. It's a fairly new problem, at least at the level that you're talking about. And we are currently working on many solutions to try to fix that. Just recently we had a meeting where we set aside a significant amount of money to start working on the program. We're in the process of right now reclaiming Wells Park and making that park fit for families and kids again. And this is a big problem, and it really takes people like you to get involved and to be part of it. I thank you for being part of the process.
Yes, sir. Good to go.
Just out of curiosity, what did you do in the Marine Corps?
I was an infantry guy. I was scout sniper, sir.
0311?
Well, 0369. I was a gunnery sergeant when I retired.
All right. Good for you. Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, sir.
And please meet with Graham, and he'll take and get in touch with us. Let us know how things are going, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Those are all the speakers we have for this, Mayor.
Okay. Then, Doug, I'd like to ask you to address the Solterra issues.
Thank you. subsequent to the last council meeting where we had a lot of public speakers, I got an email on August 1st with, I believe, 27 specific questions or concerns outlined. We sent a inspection team out to the site to do a comprehensive inspection on August 4th. And this morning I got a report back from them. We still have some work to do, but I can quickly outline 5 basic issues. Let me say to begin with, the person who emailed me, I said we will get back to you in writing, and I expect to do that within about the next 5 days or by the end of this week. But it's very quick, and we will have very specific answers to all the questions that were raised. And I wrote down the additional questions that the gentleman just asked. We will answer those as well. We will send this to every single resident in the entire complex. We don't have all your names, but we have your addresses, so we know we can get to everybody. There are code violations on site. We have directed the property owner to fix them. They've assured us it will fix them immediately. We will be back out tomorrow, August 9th, to see their progress on that. There has, as the residents have said, been a general reduction of amenities and what you might call lifestyle. Those aren't necessarily legal or code violations, but they nevertheless are obvious, and they are a concern to us. The city management, specifically myself and our assistant city manager and our director of community development, are going to be meeting with the property owner as soon as we possibly can. I expect that to take place very quickly. We are going to be addressing to them face-to-face the issues that we saw. To clarify for the city council as well as for the audience, while the city does not own the project, never has owned the project, this city council did provide loans to help build it. Those are sizable loans. You provided a $4.5 million loan, and we consider that anyone that we give a $4.5 million loan, we expect a certain level of performance over and above a minimum, and that's the message we're going to deliver to the ownership as well as the project management. We are also going to advise all the tenants that we do contract with an agency called Center for Social Advocacy, CSA. They're an outstanding organization, very well known in this region, that help in mediation services between landlords and tenants. We are going to advise them ourselves of some of the concerns out there, and we will provide you their contact information. And then finally, we will follow up with the council and with the residents a second time as we try to sunset these issues to everybody's benefit. So that's a summary, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Any sense on the time frame of these letters and the meeting?
Back to the residents, you mean?
Yeah, and also I guess more importantly, the meetings with the management company.
Actually, I just got this information this morning. We tomorrow will be calling the property owner and demanding a meeting at the earliest possible time, so I would assume that will be within a few days.
Okay, folks. So let's just keep going through the process, and I want you to keep us informed of what's happening. This is how you get things done, and you're doing a great job. With that, I appreciate it. Bob's got questions, and Mr. Goebel's got questions. So let's go ahead and go ahead, Bob.
I was wondering if we don't get satisfactory compliance, is there something in our agreement with them that somebody else could take over the project and do a decent job with it?
That clause does not exist. The landowner is a firm that we have some experience with and the council's heard of before. It's called Affirmed Housing. They use a separate legal name for this particular project, but that's who it is. It's Affirmed Housing. I probably shouldn't get ahead of myself, but I'm optimistic about getting their attention. Sometimes there's breakdown in communication between a landlord, an owner who's not literally on site very much, versus their management company. That management company is a separate entity, and we're going to discuss that in very blunt and honest terms.
And maybe they need to change the management company if they can't perform.
Mr. Goebel?
Are there any outstanding monies on the loans? The $4.5 million, or
oh yes, it would take them. It's like a long mortgage, decades to pay back those loans. Yes.
So, are there loan covenants involved with operational
I don't have that information at hand. We can look that up. I don't believe there's anything that would get to the kind of level. If it's any kind of violation of law, such as code enforcement or code compliance, if a code, for instance, the lights was something somebody mentioned, well, they can't do that by code. So we directed them on site to fix that because they were in violation of city code, and they indicated they will. That's what we will be inspecting tomorrow. And there's a couple other codes. There was something in the washer-dryer room. There was an outlet that was not properly covered, and that was a code issue, and there was a couple other things. But most of the things that came into two categories. The rent issue, we are not the ones that set the rent. There is a formula for low and moderate income housing, of which this is. They cannot go above that formula. That is kind of a regional formula. Within that formula, though, it's up to the property owner, just like it would be for any other apartment building, to decide that rent. There were some concerns expressed about warnings and that kind of thing, 60-day notice versus 30 notice. We're going to be addressing that on behalf of the residents to go over and above the minimum. The state law minimum is 30 days. They're requesting 60 days. There's a lot of landlords that try to do that. We'll be addressing that with the property owner. But there's not covenants at the level of detail that they're talking about unless a law has been broken, in which case we absolutely can force their hand through legal means.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Doug, for giving us that report. It's a good report. Thanks, folks. Let's see how things go over the next, say, 2 weeks, and then probably by the time we have our next council meeting, we'll know a lot more. Thank you. Good. I'm glad you're here. Thanks. I appreciate it. All right. There are no written communications. There are no public hearings. There are several administrative reports and staff will report on item 4.1, acceptance of the upgrade traffic signal.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Yasmin Arellano, Deputy Director of Public Works. The city has recently completed a project to upgrade the traffic signals, mainly along the Fletcher Parkway and Broadway corridor. Mr. Mario Sanchez, City Traffic Engineer, has
Can you
prepared
pull
a
the
presentation.
microphone down?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Mario Sanchez, City Traffic Engineer, has prepared a presentation on this item.
Mario.
Good afternoon, Mayor, honorable members of council. Just to give you a brief update of this project, this was a competitive grant that we received a couple of years ago, roughly in the amount of $920,000 to upgrade our traffic signals along the Fletcher Parkway and Broadway corridor. And we completed the project, and I'm just going to share some of the highlights. Okay, so this project upgraded and installed traffic signal equipment to make it into a modern 21st century Ethernet communication protocol. All our old traffic signals are all twisted pair modems, dial-up modems, which failed over the past 10, 15 years. So what we did, we applied for a grant, a state grant, and we got the grant successfully. And we replaced all the twisted pair interconnect along the Fletcher, Johnson Avenue, Magnolia Avenue, Marshall Avenue, I said Magnolia, back to City Hall. And this allows us to get us quick communication to our traffic signals, and we can look at them in real time. Today we had an incident at Fletcher and Johnson where the signal was in flash, and we were able to change the phasing within a matter of minutes. So I'm really impressed with the outcome of this project. Let me talk a little bit about the funding for construction. Like I mentioned, there was $920,000 that we received for design and construction and contract administration. But our actual bid by SC Valley of El Cajon, who did the construction, we got our bid into about $732,000 and change. And that's all, the slide is messed up there, but 90% of the project. And we did, when it wasn't part of the scope of work, we did an additive alternate to purchase additional signal equipment at other areas in the city where we didn't have connectivity. So that was, we utilized Transnet funds for that portion of the project. And additionally, we did extra work to install fiber optic cable from our city yard on Vernon Way and from our fire administration at Magnolia and Douglas back to City Hall to allow for a high-speed communication, computer communication for our IT department. And just an example of some photos of what during construction on the upper left-hand corner is to pull in a fiber optic cable in our existing infrastructure. And on the right-hand side is a video detection camera, which we installed about 32 along the corridor. And with that video detection camera, it just allows for a car to come up to the signal, allow it to turn green. But on the flip side, we can also see that video back at City Hall, and which is really nice in case we have an issue with construction, or we can change the timing right away. And the two lower pictures is a traffic signal controller, which is a computer that operates the signal at whatever intersection you're at, and the fiber optic cable communications. So that concludes my presentation.
Well, thank you, Mario. Nice report. Let me see if there's any questions. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Mario.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add, both on behalf of Mario personally and the entire Public Works Department, I've worked in a lot of places. Our Public Works Department does the best job I've ever seen about getting huge grants. I mean, there's a lot of $20,000 and $30,000 grants around, but Public Works has time and time again gotten multiple $100,000 grants and even 7 digits. El Cajon has a lot of challenges. We know that. Infrastructure is one of the strongest points the city has. This city, in large share because of the Public Works Department, has some of the finest infrastructure anywhere in San Diego County. I'd put it up against cities that are way wealthier than we are. Our infrastructure is better than theirs. And one of the things that always impresses me, and I don't normally say this, but I'm going to say it, is while we know that about our infrastructure, they never stop trying to improve it. I didn't do anything. Graham didn't do anything. Morgan didn't do anything to get this grant. This is something staff went out and did their own and just told them, hey, we got $1 million and we're going to make everything way better than anything anywhere near. So I want to thank Mario, his staff, the Public Works Department. They are absolute superstars at this stuff.
Well done. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, council, I guess I need a motion.
Move to accept the upgrades.
And then the second part was authorize the city clerk to record a notice of completion.
Right. That too.
That's both parts.
Second.
All right. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to ask our city manager, Doug Williford, again to talk to us about what's happening with the East County Performing Arts Center and give us a status report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City staff, beginning with myself, are certainly very aware, as we pointed out in the staff report, that there's a lot of anticipation and a lot of impatience about why it's taking so long for us to hopefully reach a positive conclusion with Live Nation. It has taken a little bit longer than we thought, and it is simply a matter of logistics. As I pointed out in the status report before you this afternoon, Live Nations is a huge company. They are actually an international company. We are down to the fine details of the precise construction list for the upgrade of the building as well as the written contract. It requires a number of their people to be here at the same time with a number of our people to finish that. It can take weeks to get an appointment and then weeks in the future when that appointment actually takes place. So I do understand the impatience. We are going as quickly as we can. We will continue to do it. It is an enormous priority for us. I want to assure the City Council and the community of that, and we will be back to you as soon as we possibly can with what I hope will be very successful and approvable final draft contracts with Live Nation. Thank you.
Well, thanks. It sounds like the important thing is that we're moving forward and that they're still committed to the process, and I'm excited to hear where you go with it. The next item is 4.
If I may, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, do we have speaker cards?
We have a speaker,
Thanks.
Mr. R. Valentine, please.
Art, are you here? Come on up. Hey, Art, welcome.
Thank you. Mayor, council members, when the East County Performing Arts Center opened in 1977, it was built by funds from the city and also from the taxpayers of the Grossmont Community College District, which was a wide area at the time. However, there were not enough funds to complete everything, so there were over 1,300 individual and corporate entities that donated up to $25,000 for the seating, lighting, the curtains, the audio system. And since then, there were additional fundraising efforts that were evidenced by the stars that you may have noticed in the library, in the lobby, and along the wall and along the flooring, both in the interior and the exterior. Some of those stars I noticed are deteriorating. The name's no longer legible. So it is suggested that there be some kind of accounting to retain the memory of those donations, possibly on a website or something before they're overcome during their remodeling or whatever. Also, the theater was, and incidentally, that might be something that could be assisted by a ECPAC advisory boards, which I suggested in February. The theater was built with classical music and theater music in mind, with the great acoustics and the skyloft, and performances have been done by the San Diego Symphony and the La Jolla Playhouse. So I would hope in the negotiations that is remembered and some kind of consideration given to having more of those types, more than just alternative music. So I thank you.
I think what we're looking at is a combination of shows that Live Nation would bring in, and then several dates that the city would have in order for those kind of opportunities, dance recitals, classical music recitals. I think we'll see all of that happening. And as for your idea about not forgetting the people that donated and gave and with product, I think you're absolutely right, and I think we can do something better on a website. I'm sure there's something physical we can do to make sure that they're remembered.
Thank you.
But thanks for holding our feet to the fire and keep us accountable.
Thank you much.
Appreciate it, Art.
No other speakers, Mayor.
Okay. So let me see here. So I just make a motion then to accept the status report on the East County Performing Arts Center. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
All right. And then now Graham Mitchell's going to come up and talk to us about implementation of the homeless strategies that he's working on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. The purpose of this agenda item is to provide an update on the City Council's approved strategies to address homelessness, but also, more importantly, to present some budget recommendations for the City Council's consideration, and then also to present 2 recommendations relating to a request from the El Cajon Collaborative. As a reminder, on June 27th, the Council approved a series of strategies, tasks to address homelessness, and those strategies are categorized into 4 different categories. Anti-panhandling campaign, access to homeless services, increasing housing opportunities for the homeless, and then also doing more to collaborate with our community and with the region regarding homelessness. I'll let them catch up. If you want to go a few slides. There you go. As an update to some of the strategies relating to panhandling, the city attorney is working on a no panhandling ordinance that would affect those panhandling in the public right-of-way medians. He plans to bring that to the city council in October. Staff also relying on the design envisioned by the East County Task Force on Homelessness has developed an anti-panhandling sign. We've obtained a quote for $2,000 that would include the manufacturing of 20 signs in addition to hardware needed for those signs, and those would be installed in strategic locations throughout the city. We have not budgeted for this item, and this will be one of the budget recommendations coming forward to you in a minute. Staff also will provide some more information as those signs are produced and those locations are identified into how we're going to unveil an anti-panhandling campaign, really involving a lot of the partners in our community that are concerned about this issue. Next slide. The second category of strategies that relates to creating a better connection between those that need services and the resources that exist in the community. And so some of the strategies that the council already authorized staff to investigate or to pursue is the funding of a mobile phone app referred to Connect EC or Connect East County. We have committed to funding about $3,500 of funds to help launch that site. Again, this is not in the budget. Staff would recommend that this $3,500 be taken out of the City Council's contingency budget for this year. You have a budget annually of about $100,000, and there's sufficient funds for that. A quick update on the Housing Navigator. Staff has been working closely with Crisis House, has been speaking with the Regional Task Force on Homeless, has been speaking with the county on what's the best way to utilize that Housing Navigator. Staff is prepared to bring a proposal forward, actually a grant agreement to the City Council at its meeting in September, in which we would fund that position and coordinate with all those agencies to work with our homeless population to connect them with housing opportunities and with resources that are needed. Next slide. In terms of housing opportunities, there are several, or specifically two categories or two strategies in this category that the City Council approved. One of them is a commitment to fund $80,000 in homeless or housing assistance. Again, the city has been working with Crisis House, County of San Diego, Regional Task Force on Homelessness on how to best utilize those funds. Again, staff has concluded that the best strategy is to tie those monies to the Housing Navigator. That way the Housing Navigator has a resource to help those that are seeking housing. So we'll be bringing forward a more robust proposal of how that would work, including a grant agreement with the Crisis House at a meeting in September. Lastly, staff is pleased to announce that we have been working really closely with the county. We've had some positive meetings with the county. They're anxious to work in the city of El Cajon and have commended the City Council for investing as much as you are, and has conveyed to staff that because of this investment, it enables them to unleash more of their resources into our community. So by being proactive, I think we'll be able to leverage the funds that the City Council has committed to doing more with those monies through leveraging the county money. Lastly, the City Council authorized several programs relating to regional and community cooperation. The first of which is funding a reunification program that the Salvation Army manages. Staff has been working with the Salvation Army and is finalizing a grant agreement that staff can approve at a staff level. What's missing is the budget for that. Staff would recommend that we allocate $10,000 out of the city manager's existing economic development budget for that activity, and that will be part of our final recommendation. I also wanted to point out that one of the direction from the City Council is to be more involved from a regional and a local perspective. We are taking more leadership roles at a staff level with the East County Homeless Task Force, with the Regional Task Force on Homelessness. We've been meeting with San Diego State University professors that are currently analyzing, studying homelessness. We've secured their commitment that they're going to bring a cadre of students into our community to do some research that specifically that we need, that will help us to make informed decisions and help guide your policy based on data. Lastly, next slide. The El Cajon Collaborative is a local organization that you all know very well, and they do have many of their discussions around the topic of homelessness and quality of life in our community. They've made two recent requests of the city. First is there has been an ongoing partnership agreement between the city and the collaborative, and we thought it would be appropriate for the city council to consider approving that partnership agreement tonight, and that is presented as part of the agenda packet. Second, the collaborative has launched a fundraising campaign by the sale of bricks that would have donors' names inscribed on the bricks. It's $125 for a brick, and staff would recommend that the city council fund a brick through the city council contingency budget. If you can go to the last slide, please. So none of the budget requests tonight are enormous. They're actually all within the city manager's purview in terms of expenditure or entering into agreements. However, they are not reflected in the current budget. So staff has recommended that the panhandling signs be taken out of an existing public works budget, out of sign maintenance, that the mobile phone app be taken out of the city council's contingency budget, that the El Cajon Collaborative brick be taken out of that same budget, and that the reunification costs be taken out of the city manager's economic development budget. We would also recommend, so I guess the recommendation for the city council's consideration is, one, to make these budget modifications, and two, to approve the partnership agreement with the El Cajon Collaborative. Staff's available to answer any questions that you may have or provide additional update onto what we've accomplished since the council saw this last in June.
That's your program. Thank you. Let me see if there's some questions. Everybody's got questions. We'll start from the end and come forward. Mr. Pasha.
For the panhandling signs, Graham, it says $2,000. Who installs the signs?
Staff will install those signs, and that cost does not include staff time for installation. That would just be eaten out of our budget.
So what's the real cost then?
About $4,000 total. But it's already in the budget for that part. The additional amount is actual
raw material
or writing a check to the sign manufacturer.
Okay. The app, is that a one-time cost?
It is a one-time cost to launch the app.
And I heard you say that it was a East County app. So are there others, so that covers, other cities are participating in that 3,500, or is it us?
The chamber can come up and answer that specifically. It's my understanding that we're the only ones contributing to that, to get that program launched. But Mr. Lund can answer that question.
Thank you. So we are requesting from other cities also to participate and help support that app. It does launch the app, but there are going to be ongoing costs year to year. So we're making requests to Santee, Lemon Grove, La Mesa, and we've already made a request to the County of San Diego for East County.
So it is not a one-time cost?
This will be a one-time cost. So we'll just ask this first time because this gets it up and running.
And then hosting, you're talking about other costs?
Yep. As far as ongoing costs, we plan to have it covered for 4 or 5 years, hopefully, if the other cities will step up and participate, and I think they will. Okay?
Stay up here because you might maybe know this.
You bet.
So the $10,000 for reunification, is that also shared by other cities, or is that just this city?
That would be just the city, and it would be on a reimbursement basis. The grant agreement that we're working on would include parameters of who those funds could be applied to, and it would be a specific El Cajon homeless person. So that would be the caveat of the parameters that we can build into the grant agreement, along with data that we would expect back.
And that'll reunify up to 20 people, basically.
I feel like we should call this the El Cajon Task Force because we're like paying more of the money.
We're not paying more because we are requesting from every city to participate in that program.
Oh,
and the county.
okay.
So this is just one part that will get up to 20 people reunified in the city of El Cajon who are homeless.
And Mayor, if I could reiterate before the next question, just the city council authorized expenditures at the June 27th meeting. This is really taking those expenditures that were allocated or authorized and giving them a home within the budget. So that's what we're seeking for tonight.
Bob?
How are we going to explain to the homeless how to use that app and get it on their phone and what they can do with it?
That's a good question. So we are going to be passing out wristbands that have directions on how to access the app. We think that by having wristbands, people will remember where it is and get the directions a little quicker. We're also going to be producing a laminated card, because some people do have wallets and purses, and they'll be able to carry it around with them as well. So those are the two ways we're going to try to make sure that they know how to use that app.
Do they all have cell phones?
Not all of them, about, what was the number? Shoot, I think it was 70% or 60%.
Yeah.
Is the number that I saw.
Okay, thank you.
And they're not all smartphones either, that's the other thing. So this app will actually work for text-only phones as well as for smartphones.
Just a comment that El Cajon has done more than all the other East County cities combined to help the homeless. So maybe the media reports will shame them into doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I do want to commend the city of El Cajon. I actually did submit a speaker's card. I just wanted to say that El Cajon is the first city to step up and put a commitment forward that is meaningful. So thank you very much for your support.
Mr. Mayor, Team 4, Eric, was the team that came up with the app, I believe, Mr. Ostrowski. In my recollections with conversations with him, the $3,550 funds 12 months, or the first 12 months of that app, hosting and costs related to that. The app for my colleagues is a text-based app where you text a number, 67324, to some kind of number. And then you get an automatic text back saying, if you want reunification services, press 1. If you want food, press 2. If you want emergency shelter, press 3. And it is specifically made for people who don't have smartphones or non-internet-based phones, because we've learned many of the homeless don't have those type of phones, so it appeals to a broad section.
That's correct.
So I think it's a trend-setting technology that could really work. I think that it's also important to note that in the context of this is a pilot program. Many of these things are a pilot, and we're not investing $1 million right away. A pilot program is a test to see what things work and what things don't and what things can be modified. So I think the city is being very smart with taxpayer dollars. These are not large dollar amounts. I think the public would agree. But they're very targeted, and I think the taxpayers should be aware we're spending the monies very wisely in a test pilot situation with a lot of partners at hand, and that's what makes this a great program that I think is becoming a thought leader throughout the county.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit ahead of everywhere else to a certain degree. And I will say that I really am convinced that all the other cities will participate in a meaningful way. I think the county is also going to step up. I know you've been speaking with Diane Jacob, who's our representative in this area of the county. And we have met with her, and we've presented a proposal to her as well, much like what we've presented here. And I just want to thank, again, all of the volunteers from the East County Homeless Task Force, all of the organizations who have been participating, because a lot of these are, pilot programs. The dog at the shelter example is a good one, having a couple of spots at the shelter where homeless people can put their dogs so they can access services. It's just using common sense. And so there's some great things that are coming out of the task force, and we're really excited about it.
I think one of the nice things about leading this effort somewhat countywide is people are starting to talk about it, but we're getting rewarded for it. My understanding is from the county, the rapid rehousing funds that we had set aside were going to have to be set aside perhaps for either seriously mentally ill or non, and now the county is stepping up and saying, we are interested in covering the cost of SMI, freeing up that $80,000 to work with non-SMIs. So already we're seeing some some multiplication efforts through the county that we appreciate.
Yeah, thank you. And the regional task force countywide is also coming out with some really great information, including a lot of really good data that, I know there were some questions from the council last time I was here, and a lot of that data I can bring. They have got some great information in their point-of-time count report and a lot of other stuff that will answer a lot of the questions you had last time.
All right. Eric, thank you for your report. I can't think of an issue that is more prevalent and more on top of mind with most of the people in El Cajon than this. So thank you for your effort.
You're more than welcome. And again, it's all the volunteers that are helping out that should be getting the credit. So thank you.
It's amazing what some committed volunteers can do. Okay, then. Somebody like to make a motion?
Mayor, if I may, we have a couple of speakers as well.
Apologize. Thank you.
Mr. Michael Kowalski.
Hi, Mr. Kowalski.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, thank you for hearing me. I want to speak. I'd like to speak a bit on, if I may, on the reunification program that you had for Wells Park, the homelessness situation there. My wife and I, unfortunately, were homeless, but we are not now. But we see a lot of things that go in and out of that park and a lot of things that are not. We've cleaned up the bathrooms, and I spoke with Mr. Mitchell about the reunification of the bathrooms, which is a great idea. A lot of the people there just need to, I personally think that the would save the city a lot of money if there was maybe a certain area where at least maybe the homeless could go store their belongings, like a small warehouse or something, and leave it there in it, and knowing that it's safe, and that way that they wouldn't look to the community, the rest of the community, as maybe such an eyesore. Maybe they can put like the animal shelter or something like that for the dogs, so they can go look around. There's only one place for homeless people to go, and that's with the recommendation of the El Cajon Police Department, is to the ECTLC. This is Each County Transitional Living Center, which unfortunately I've read has been under investigation for several things that they have done that is not really legitimate. And a place like that is not a place for people who are homeless, because they have to go to, they separate married couples and send the men up to Campo and send the women to Lakeside. They're not allowed to communicate other than by letters, no cell phones. And that really needs to be looked into. I believe, just my opinion. The crisis house is a good place to get mail and everything, and they serve hot foods. Throughout the county, there are several churches who provide showers, free showers. The Mediterranean Church off of Hamashaw and Washington, I believe it is. They can find out, the homeless can find out information at the crisis house. They have a paper there stating, I think it's every third or fourth Friday or Wednesday or something like that of the month. They provide showers and they provide meals every Wednesday at 5:30. And off of Jeffrey Street, there's a pastor who provides free meals. Him and his wife have been doing it for 10 years.
Sir, we've hit the red button, but let me see if there's any questions for you. Bob?
Yes,
You mentioned the El Cajon Transitional Living Center. Have you ever been out there and had a tour and have them go through the facility and see what it does?
ECTLC?
Yes.
Yes, sir. My wife and I stayed there for approximately 6 to 7 weeks. When we started out there, there was you're allowed to stay there for the first 28 days are free. then you check out, check back in, and then if you work, or they help you find jobs, if you, at that time, I was working, so I was paying $200 a week for a room, which had a little refrigerator and a television and a shower. And for the two of us, that's fine. That's all we needed. There was one washer and dryer for probably 30 or 40 apartments, and that made it a little difficult to do laundry, but they had so-called five-star chefs there, and when you are told that, hey, we're going to charge you $65 to $70 because they have a little machine inside the office for your ATM, or I mean for your for a food stamp card, which they're not supposed to do that. Apparently, they are doing that, and there's just a lot of stuff that's not right there, and it's just. I think that there's a better solution than just ECTLC. We watched because of the, there was an elderly woman, I think she's probably about 65 or 70. She was in a wheelchair, and because it was a holiday weekend, she tried to talk to them, but one of the gentlemen there, JD, I believe, he would not listen to them. And on a Saturday night at 8:30 at night, she had a 13-year-old grandson staying with her in a room. They kicked her out on the street. They had to have relatives drive down from L.A. to pick them up. That is just wrong. And they would not, I just don't understand their meaning behind it. You know, if El Cajon is to have a shelter or a place, even a tent, there's properties. I understand that there's the old El Cajon police station is going to be made into a hotel. Well, until that hotel is made, maybe the city council and everybody involved can think about maybe putting up a tent, like a tent city there, have somebody there. In my past, I spent 3 years in Colorado, and I was basically an assistant to a working man shelter, meaning that the people who stayed in that shelter had to work a minimum of 32 hours a week. If they did anything illegal, they were obviously kicked out. But that being said, that when a person is homeless and you have nothing, and you have somebody like El Cajon, you have the officers come in and they write them a citation for illegal lodging or something, or whatever it is. If you're homeless, you don't have the drive to, why should I pay for this, or why should I do this? So it just escalates. But if you have something like a shelter that says, hey, look, we're willing to put you in a place to live, how bad do you want to get off the street? I'll tell you one thing. You sleep on a cold sidewalk or the pavement for any length of time, you're going to realize real fast, you know, there's better ways and better opportunities. So get off your rear and do something. So if somebody offers you a place to stay and says, hey, all we have to do is, you know, go out and find they can go to, I believe the place is called People Ready. I'm sure they can sign up for that or something, just something to help them.
Let me see if there's any more questions. Any more questions?
You said the El Cajon Transitional Living Center put you up for $28 days for nothing?
I'm sorry?
They put you up for 28 days for free?
Yes, it was. It has to be, I believe, like if a church or somebody recommends you, and then I believe it was the El Cajon Police that is supposed to recommend you, or someone who's homeless. If they have an opening, it was like if a single mother with 2-3 children, infants or whatever, they have to put them up there for 28 days. a young couple or whatever, or if they have income, they have different programs. I don't know what all of them are. I was explained by the director of some of the programs that they do have, and where they're supposed to, like say a person makes $1,000, finds a job making $1,000 a month. Well, out of that $1,000, they pay for $333 for, they put so much away, they pay so much, and then so much goes to ECTLC.
And that doesn't work for you?
Well,
that didn't work for you, get you off the street?
I'm sorry?
That didn't get you off the street, their program?
No, sir. I was on. I was working for Ace Towing in El Cajon, and I became disabled because of a foot injury, and I had to have surgery. So now I have an income.
Okay. So they did help you through a difficult time.
They, at the time that we needed the help, they assisted us with a roof over our head, a place to take a shower. As far as the food, that's questionable.
But they did get you off the street and back on your feet.
I made it a point to put a little bit extra away, and that ECTLC, yes, bottom line is, I guess it started me to where I'm saying, okay, I want to build and go up, and now we have a vehicle, and everything is looking up for us.
That's what they want to do, is get people back on their feet. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Sure.
Okay, and this is you can go ahead and sit down. I just want to make a comment about ECTLC.
Thanks for coming.
I'm very familiar with them because I had two of their graduates stay at my house for a couple of years. In fact, one still lives at my house now, and that's not intended to be a permanent situation. It's to help you get back on your feet. But they have very strict rules there. It's like being in a boot camp, and they have to have those strict rules because of all the issues that the people have that live there. They have to maintain this order, and if someone brings in drugs, they're kicked out. If they bring in alcohol, they're kicked out, and they have to behave themselves. But my two friends and their friends now that were graduates, they have nothing but praise for the organization. And I have other friends that were in construction. One of them was literally laying in the gutter with blood coming out of his nose, and they brought him over there. And now it's 7 years later, and he runs his own tile company, is married with kids, and very, very successful. So that's not the right program for everybody, but if you want to get off the drugs and alcohol, that's a good place to go. If you don't want to get off the drugs and alcohol and maintain your destructive lifestyle, that's not the place for a homeless person. So it's up to them.
Okay. Are there more cards?
The other speaker, Mayor, was Mr. Eric Lund, but I think he already came up to the podium.
Thanks, Eric.
That's all the speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, Council, then I need a... Well, I had one question for you. In regard to the signs, how many signs are we getting?
20 signs.
All right. And was there any discussion about buying not metal signs but cardboard signs that go in windows of businesses?
So there are some posters that will be paid by the businesses directly, not involved with the city, that we would not be involved with the purchase.
So that's going to happen?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. I'm set. Does anybody have any discussion on this, or would somebody like to make a motion? Gary?
Comment. I want to commend Eric Lund and the Homeless Task Force for absolutely outstanding suggestions. I call this a tough love program. The people that want to get help can get help, and we've already allocated $70,000 to East County Transitional Living Center to get homeless women and children off the streets, and I think that's money well spent. We're allocating more money for housing. And so those people that want to help themselves and get off the alcohol and drugs there's a place for them to go. And for the people that want to continue their self-destructive lifestyle and hurt our city and our citizens and our businesses, there are elements of this program that will discourage their behavior. And I think this is a win-win for everybody.
The transitional living center and emergency shelter is one path, and that works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody, as Gary mentioned, because some people can't take the rules that come along with it. And this Housing Navigator provides that housing first solution to say, let's get them into housing, then let's deal with whatever they can't do in a transitional living center. And that's why this two-pronged path approach that the city had is fantastic. I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept the report regarding the homeless strategies, authorize expenditures, and approve a partnership between the city and the El Cajon Collaborative.
Sir, second?
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Please vote.
The motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right, next is a resolution for the city council use of electronic devices, and our city manager, Douglas
I
Wolf.
think it's actually 4.4, one item before that.
Did I miss something?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Process and schedule for city council public forum, and it's again with you, Mr. Wolford.
Thank you. On May 23rd, the City Council adopted a process that included 7 main points that are repeated in your staff report this afternoon regarding 2 forums specifically for City Council members and the public to bring up concerns and new ideas on behalf of the city. One of those was expected to be in the autumn and one of them in the spring. So the purpose of today's staff report is to propose more specific details for the first of these public forums. Let me just go over those details quickly. We're proposing that it be at the regular City Council meeting in the evening, 7 p.m., Tuesday, October 10th. We will ensure there's no other items on the evening agenda. Therefore, it will be strictly the public forum. We will use all of our resources, which are considerable, to advertise the forum to our public. At the meeting, the public will be heard first. Council members presenting issues and items would be heard second. We will try to be prepared to answer any questions we can to the extent possible just to help the conversation, but we won't be prepared to do any analysis for that evening. Per adopted process specifically, too, the City Council already approved the process that if any council member wishes to bring up an item, they should fill out a form that my office will provide and is attached to the staff report this afternoon as a draft 2 weeks ahead of time, so 14 days before October 10th. We will include it in the agenda item. The public does not need to do that. They're welcome to do that, but they do not need to do that. And then finally, as was also outlined in the earlier adopted process by the City Council, a short time later, and I think it's reasonable it would be 2 meetings later, 1 month later, staff will come back to the City Council with a summary and analysis of everything that was raised during that meeting, and it would be at that meeting that Council would make its actual first decisions regarding what it wished to move forward on, what it didn't wish to move forward on, and prioritization. That are staff's recommendations, and that concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Doug. Are there speaker cards on this item?
We do not have any, Mr. Mayor, at this point.
Staff, council, have any questions on this item? No, I think this is a great idea. It's going to be good for prioritizing our future, and I think it's a good organizational move, and I'm all for it and looking for a motion.
Well, I think this is a great way for our citizens to participate in our democracy directly. This way they can look us in the eye and tell us what they think about things and probably give us some good ideas. And it's also a great way to prioritize city resources. So I'm going to make a motion that we accept this recommendation.
Moving the second, please vote.
The motion also carries 5-0, Mr. Mayor.
that brings us to the last one, the resolution for the City Council use of electronic devices. And again, City Manager Doug Wolver.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also earlier this year, the City Council directed staff to come back to the City Council regarding a policy regarding the use of private electronic communications during council meetings. What we have outlined for the council this afternoon for your consideration are three options. The first option is what's entitled council policy only. It is simply a statement by the council with no technical or technological changes whatsoever, just a policy statement included within a proposed attached resolution that you have today regarding the council's intention and its beliefs regarding the use of electronic devices during council meetings. Option B is that similar policy statement, but some specific direction to staff and to the council. First, that only electronic device permitted during the City Council meetings on the dais would be the city-provided iPads. Those iPads would be configured to eliminate all email and Internet capability except to El Cajon selected sites, such as our municipal code, our adopted budget, and so on. Third, that at the request of any individual council member, staff will download onto that person's iPad any note-taking software available. Fourth, all iPads, for ease of note-taking and just ease of overall use, will be outfitted with attached keypads. And as is true with option A above, council members, of course, are able to keep their private cell phones on their person for emergency purposes only. Option C is simply no policy, make no change whatsoever at this time. Those are the three options we present to the council for your consideration.
Any questions for the staff? Any speaker cards on this item?
No speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, council, it's up to you. I think option B is the right way to go. I remember a little anecdotal story. I went up to Sacramento at the request of Senator Anderson, and Senator Anderson's in the minority, so everybody was speaking and listening and being very involved until Senator Anderson got to speak, and everybody stopped listening and they started messing around their phones and their iPads, and they were talking to each other. I thought it was just incredibly disrespectful to Senator Anderson, but more importantly, I thought it was just disrespectful to the democratic process. Even if it's a foregone conclusion that one side may win, you still have to give the other side the opportunity to voice their opinions. And I think it's just it's courtesy, and we have a resolution here that talks about a lot of other reasons. I won't bore everybody with all those reasons right now, but that's my suggestion, and open to discuss it if anybody has another thought. Yes.
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor. It's important that the public can see that we're not being distracted by other electronic devices, that council members aren't contacting maybe other council members and the public during a meeting in violation of the Brown Act, that they're not surfing the Internet while we're having a meeting, looking at information they're not supposed to be looking at during a public hearing. And it's really about transparency and trust. So I think this is very important. Many other cities have the same type of policy, and I think El Cajon needs this policy.
Bob?
I would agree with that, because out of common courtesy to the people that are watching on television or that are in the audience, that we need to pay attention to what's going on and not be distracted by other devices. Other than maybe an emergency call on a cell phone would be the only permitted thing. And that would be my recommendation also.
Anybody else? Mr. Clouser?
I have a question for Morgan. For Municipal Code 2.27.170, how does, concerned about that, I'm also concerned with California Fair Employment Act when it comes to this. And my concern is as follows. Because policy, because the options on here talk about, for instance, adding applications to take notes, and also taking into consideration putting in a keyboard to take notes. On iAnnotate, it currently doesn't have the capability to integrate note-taking on a level besides the sticky notes, so taking full notes is not possible. So another app would be too burdensome for me to switch back and forth, because this agenda item, as laughable as it is, it's just geared towards me. So that's why I brought in that municipal code violation that perhaps is concerning to me. And then another thing would be, it's not a matter of taking notes just here. So a normal work week for me would be meeting with people who, whether it's my town hall meetings or meeting with people at their businesses like I've done with different code officers and stuff, and I'm taking notes. Now these notes, either I'm taking them on Excel, whether it's renderings or just note-taking. So it would be too burdensome for me to have to transfer all of that data to this. It's on the Thursday or Friday or Saturday or whenever I pick this up. So there is a discrimination, I think, suit that is probably an option for me, like as the city is my employer. So those are my concerns.
Which code section in the muting code did you refer to?
2.27.170.
Let me get back to that and take a look at that. The other option, the other concern you had to do with or partly as part of that was I'm not finding a 2.27, so that's where I'm lost.
2.27.170.
We don't have a 2.27. We have a 2.2. We have a 2.04, 08, 12, 16.
Hang on, I'll find it for you right now.
And it skips between 24 and 32.
I'll get it for you right now.
Okay. 2.72,
yeah, there you go. You can do, 2.72, and then on the bottom it's 2.72.170 on that page.
I want to interrupt and ask a question. Now that the specter of a lawsuit has been brought up again, do we need to do this in a closed session?
I don't think so. I think what he's trying to, Mr. Klosh is trying to do is at least get some sort of an idea whether there's a problem.
And it's not a lawsuit. It was simply a claim with the California Fair Employment Act.
Okay. What you're referring to is the discrimination issues.
Correct.
In both instances.
Correct.
And the discrimination is because you can't use an iPad like anybody else, or is it because you're being told you have to use this particular iPad?
No, neither. So a typical work week for me would be meeting with constituents or residents and on a whole plethora of issues. And those notes and the times that I'm meeting with them are done on my laptop, whether that's on Excel, whether that's on a note-taking application or renderings, drawings, permits, or what have you. I have all those capabilities. And then when the agendas are ready, say Friday, say Saturday, and I have to go pick them up, it's too burdensome for me to transfer all of that data into this, and then go back and forth between the iAnnotate and a note-taking application, whether there's a keyboard there or not, as opposed to the setup that I have here.
I guess I ask you, do you have a printer at home?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, and you can print those documents off of your notebook computer that you've taken through the time period before the council meeting. This policy only addresses the use of the device at the meeting. So you can bring a notepad, you can bring papers in a binder, you can bring any of that sort of thing together with you and still do the work off the iPad. The only purpose of the idea of having a word processing function in the iPad is in case one of you have the desire to use that function, take your notes on that system. But you can always bring a pad of paper with you and a pen. You can always bring a binder of printed out copies of things that you put together to collect your thoughts. That's certainly not only suitable, but a laudable way to address your duties as a council member.
So I think the same argument I think for me applies is that because now I have an added workload to do, right? So as opposed to I'm the only one up here that takes notes on an electronic device, and not just here but outside of here. And so it would the argument would be, again, discriminatory as being the only person up here that does that. So no, it's a non-starter for everybody else.
Yeah, I think you're using the general term discriminatory or discrimination between people who use electronic devices and not use electronic devices. It's different than what a DFEH claim might be for discrimination. There's nothing in this policy that relates to you by your age, your gender, your sexual preference, your race or ethnicity.
But there
It all
isn't
has to-
political affiliation.
That's not covered by DFEH. So I disagree with your analysis of the law.
Thank you.
Steve, you have?
It is, sometimes just I'm a low-tech guy, I will take notes on a piece of paper and take a picture with my phone, and there I go, I got digital notes. So I think that's kind of an easy fix for those of us who might be digitally challenged. I am thinking also this is three things: trust, respect, and transparency. The public has a right to trust that we are viewing the same things. If we have access to the Internet and you want to argue a point, and I'm able to look up something on the Internet here, I just got access to refute your point that you didn't have, and it's no longer a level playing field. And that's not good for you as the public when you want to debate a topic, that I have an advantage of having information in a more accessible format, perhaps, than a smartphone that you might have. So certainly trust. Respect. The public gets their 3 minutes during public hearing, and we shouldn't be on cell phones, we shouldn't be on laptops. This is sacred time for the public to get 5 council people, and it's about respecting the public when they get those 3 minutes. So that's very important. Transparency. I've mentioned, we shouldn't have access to things that you don't have access in real time, right here. We should be on an equal playing field. And so to have those extra things, I think, is not good for the public, and this is what we are here for. We are here to serve the public. This is public service, not self-service.
Steve, would you like to make a motion?
I would. I'd like to make a motion that the City Council consider the options presented and adopt option B as the next resolution in order.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries 4-1 with Mr. Palacio voting in the negative.
All right. Item 6.1 is my activities report, and as reported. There is no legislative report today. And we are now at the activities report of the council members. Councilmember Kendrick.
As reported.
Councilmember McClellan. Councilmember Colascio.
As I've reported them.
Councilmember Goebel.
As reported.
There are no joint councilmember reports, and there are no general information items for discussion. There are no first or second readings of ordinances. We are now at closed session. Item 15.1 is conference with legal counsel on existing litigation pursuant to paragraph 1 of subdivision D of the Government Code, section 54956.9. May we have a motion to adjourn to the closed session?
Second.
Please vote.
Motion carries 5-0, Mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will go to a short closed session, then we'll return to finish the meeting.